All right. So many of you have written in and have said, David, you must weigh in on what's going on with Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks. Isn't he your Fran? Don't you have to talk to him about what's happening because he's turning into MAGA? Well, let's talk about what Cenk has been saying with the context that Cenk is going to be on the show on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about all of this. The concern from some in my audience has been that Cenk Uygur is doing a Dave Rubin style turn. He's becoming a Magapotamian. He's becoming a Magadonian. Okay. In part because he's saying, hey, maybe MAGA can get some good stuff done. In part because he showed up and spoke to Charlie Kirk at the Turning Point USA America Fest atrocity a week or two ago. So I'm going to play a couple of clips here that I believe are going to allow me to give what my current view is on what's going on with Cenk. Last week, I covered that Laura Loomer, who is disgusting and gets so many things wrong, correctly identified some of the reasons we might not want unelected billionaires running the government. I said, it's a broken clock that's occasionally right. Here is Cenk's take on Laura Loomer. Let's listen.
She has said the worst possible things about Muslims. I'm Muslim. So I get it. I get it. She's terribly wrong on race, right? But at the same time, you have significant portions of MAGA that are now saying corporate rule sucks, and I'm tired of taking my taxpayer money and giving it to these executives and to these companies, and let's make sure we're careful about the donor class, even ones next to Donald Trump. That is an excellent development, excellent. They are thinking for themselves. They're looking out for corruption even among Trump's donors. So even if I disagree with them on the H-1B visa, the fact that this rebellion is happening and the civil war is happening is wonderful news. Not because, it's gonna destroy the Republican Party, which is what Rachel Maddow is gonna say, right? But because it's actually showing you that they're thinking for themselves, and we might be able to have the most untraditional alliances you have ever seen.
Okay. One more clip, and then we will discuss it. Here is Cenk saying it's a great thing and it's an important thing that not only Laura Loomer but also Steve Bannon are saying the donor class is a problem.
They are correct about that. And the fact that they are telling right-wing voters in this battle, remember, watch out for the donor class, watch out for the corporate executives.
True, yeah.
Is really important. So as much as I loathe Bannon and Loomer on those things that I have every right to loathe them on, it is super interesting and important, and yes, I'm gonna say it, positive, that they are saying, watch out for the donor class, watch out for corporate rule. Steve Bannon the other day said we need to increase corporate taxes dramatically. We need to raise taxes on the rich, and those folks need to help pay for the things that helps the average American. That is what we've been saying for 20, 25 years.
So listen, on the Bannon quote, I don't think Bannon's sincere when he says it, but it doesn't matter, okay? Cenk is not wrong that some elements of MAGA saying some of these things is positive in a generic way. I think it's fine if there are shared goals where, for whatever reason, because they have a personal grievance or for whatever other reason, if some of these MAGA nuts have some overlap and we can get something done that helps people, why would we say no? But here's where I'm concerned. And I'm going to talk to Cenk about this on Wednesday. Broken clocks occasionally being right doesn't mean you start using them to tell time. It is no secret that those who use populist rhetoric on the left and on the right start to sound alike. I have rung this warning bell for years. The tricky thing about populist rhetoric is that it's not policy ideas, it's rhetoric. Of course, Bannon occasionally sounds like Bernie, but their solutions are all different when they actually end up in a position to be able to do something about it. Let me give you some examples. If you take the left and the right populists, they love attacking the establishment and the elites. The left-wing populists and the right-wing populists rail against the elites and argue that powerful elites, which could be corporate executives, they could be financial institutions, they could be entrenched political leaders, the left and right-wing populists correctly say they've rigged the system against ordinary citizens. Awesome. Both sides use language that frames politics as a conflict between the people and a corrupt ruling class. The left-wing populists will usually say the solutions come from social democracy, more robust regulations to curb corporate power. And that can include maybe we tax the wealthy more. Maybe we tax corporations more. We have a more redistributive system of wealth. Let's break up big banks. Let's break up let's break up and maybe even nationalize key industries to reduce monopoly power. Let's strengthen labor unions to empower workers. Those are the left-wing proposals to this problem of the entrenched corporate elites. The right-wing populists will often approach it by saying, we need cultural or nationalist solutions. We need protectionist trade policies like tariffs, which Trump wants. And they frame it as defending domestic workers, even though it doesn't. They want to restrict immigration. They want to blame elites for open borders that undermine national sovereignty. Ring a bell? It's all the stuff that Trump is doing. They typically, now I know Bannon is saying raise taxes. Almost none of the others are saying it. They typically want to maintain or even lower corporate taxes by saying that's how we maintain our economic nationalism. That's how we keep jobs at home, by lowering taxes even more and place almost no constraints on business practices at all. So understand, Cenk and Loomer, very much similar on the rhetoric, the entrenched elites, the donor class, etc. The solutions they want are very different. And this is why for a decade now, I've been saying these people are getting bamboozled by the populist sounding rhetoric. Let me give you another one, okay? Anger at a rigged financial system. This is another classic. The left-wing populists and the right-wing populists will point to major banks, Wall Street, the financial sector. They'll say they rigged the economy in favor of the wealthy. Okay. They'll portray the big financial institutions and the hedge fund managers as profiting from the losses of ordinary people through the housing crisis, a debt crisis, etc. Okay. And that's where it splits. The left-wing populists want to rein in the financial industry, put in place a financial transaction tax, higher tax brackets for top earners, higher brackets for capital gains, introduce or expand public banking so that there's really a sort of public good around basic banking services. Postal banking is another proposal. Regulate or even break up the too big to fail banks. That's the left's solution. The right-wing populists will criticize, the global financiers, which often, by the way, delves into just anti-Semitism, but they still want low taxes and they want deregulation. They'll scapegoat certain elites, usually tied to global organizations, Klaus Schwab, the IMF, and you know this stuff, right? But they will maintain what they call the pro-business policies domestically. They'll reduce oversight. They'll rail against corruption, but still continue to want to deregulate without pushing to any systemic reform. So I could go on, right? I'll do one more example. Cynicism towards mainstream media. This is another one. I know the gears are turning and we're all kind of realizing this. The left-wing populists and the right-wing populists say mainstream media is biased. It's part of an establishment bubble. It doesn't tell the truth to regular people, right? Sound familiar? They both often will rely on direct communication bypassing corporate media, whether it's a YouTube show or a Trump rally or whatever. The difference is the left-wing populists will say the media conglomerates serve corporate interests and push a sort of traditional neoliberal agenda. So we want to deconsolidate. We want to support public media. We want to boost independent journalism, maybe even doing something like what the UK does with BBC and funding from the population. The right-wing populists, after making the same criticism of legacy media, will say It's a cosmopolitan bias, a liberal bias. They're undermining our conservative values. They're undermining the family. They're undermining Christianity. Their focus is on a hardcore, culturally conservative solution. So, do we agree with them about the diagnosis? I don't know, because the solution is so different. And so, this is what I want to talk to Cenk about. It's great if there's overlap and stuff we can work on together, except if their solutions are the wrong ones to every one of these problems when the rubber meets the road. How useful is that really going to be? So I'll talk to Cenk about that on Wednesday. Many of us have struggled with sleep at one point or another. A sleep aid many turn to is melatonin because it's a non-pharmaceutical remedy clinically proven to work without the side effects you might get with antihistamines or prescription meds. My favorite way to take melatonin is with the Dream Hot Cocoa Powder from our sponsor, Beam. It works. When you mix Dream Powder into hot water or milk for a delicious mug of cocoa, half an hour later, blissfully sleeping. No sugar added, it's naturally sweetened, and it comes in delicious flavors. My favorite is cinnamon cocoa, but vanilla chai is great too. You can get better sleep with melatonin, proven to help you fall asleep and stay asleep longer. Feeling rested makes the next day so much better. Keep Dream Powder nearby to soothe you to sleep when you need it. Get 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman. The link is in the description.